turn it on. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Good stuff. So I have the pleasure of speaking to you about vibrant clubs. And you might be wondering, well, what the heck is a vibrant club? So I'm actually going to pose that question to you. When I say vibrant club, if I could ask you to put in the chat what comes to mind for you, just type out any and all thoughts. When I say vibrant club, you think what? Fellowship, fun. Yep, there we go. Absolutely. Energetic, active, fundraisers, lively meetings, growing membership, engaged, high numbers, lots of fun, friendship. Yep. Anything else come to mind? Ooh, feel purpose, positive, movement. Feel like a stock ticker right now. Eager. Any parting thoughts there before I move on? Hands on, I love that. Excellent. All right, if more things come to mind, feel free to jot them down in there as I cover off what we're going to discuss today. So
TDSB.
Well, that is not what we're going to be talking about today. I can guarantee that. When we're done today, what I'm hoping you leave with is an understanding of what makes clubs succeed and remain healthy. We're really going to spend a lot of time today looking at the health of your club and how you might assess the health of your club. I'm going to show you a model, some of which you may have seen it already. And the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to use that worksheet to come up with a bit of a plan for how you, as the incoming leader of your club, can improve your club's long-term health. So these are the 3 learning objectives. You'll notice in the bottom right-hand corner of various slides, there are little logos. Wherever you see breakout rooms, my ask is that you select a spokesperson before that breakout room closes. And remember which room number you were in, because I'm going to be asking the spokesperson to provide some feedback. And I'll explain this as we go along, but that's just something to note early on. Okay. All right. I'm also going to need to figure out how to move my slides, but I can do that. There we go. So I'm going to put a couple of questions to you, and just by either are most people on video? Let me just have a look here. Most part. All right. If you can actually use the reaction, no, you know what? We'll do it by show of hands. I'm going to put up a series of questions, and what I ask you to do is sort of put up your hand if these questions resonate with you. Okay. So the first is, do you have difficulty attracting new members? Okay, fair enough. Few people. So my next question is anybody experiencing the loss of a lot of new members after only a short period of time? Yep, some of us, maybe not as many. What about having trouble getting members to engage in new and current projects? Okay. And anyone having conflicts about where the club's heading, what they're doing, direction? A handful of people. Is everyone confident on this call about what their club's direction is? I love when I see a smile to that question, because it sort of tells me that was a good question. All right, last question. By a show of hands, how many of you are concerned about too many projects and burnout? Okay. My hope is at the end of this, we will have some ideas for how to address some of these challenges. So work with me as we work through this. Which you'll also have noticed as those hands went up is that you're not alone. So I encourage you to lean on your classmates and have the discussions in the room about, you know, what's going on with other clubs and what other clubs have found successful. Your journey as president, you are definitely not alone. And I know that there are other club presidents, including in your own club, as well as other clubs that are ready and eager to help you, and your own district support team is ready and eager to help you too. All right, here's the first exercise. So I'm going to ask you to take pen to paper, and if it's the back of the worksheet, or if you have a workbook or a guide of some type that you're using to track all your president-elect stuff, my ask to you is to think about the 3 greatest challenges that your club is facing, or your club will face in the coming year, okay? And I want you to write them down. Now, several of you have already put pen to paper and are frantically writing membership. I'm going to tell you that membership is not your problem. It is not the challenge. So I'm going to ask you to dig a little deeper, right, and find out, really think about what is the challenge. I want to put membership down, but why do I really want to put membership down? Okay. How this is going to work is I'm going to actually, the next slide will show you which breakout rooms you're going to go to, and you are going to select the breakout room that you're going to. Okay, so you need to remember which number you're on, and I hopefully have captured all the clubs. Again, you're going to spend 5 minutes doing this exercise on your own. So I do ask everyone to allow everybody to spend that individual working time. And then I'm going to give you an additional 10 minutes to exchange ideas around this. Okay, we're not talking about solutions. We're just simply exchanging our thoughts around the challenges that we've identified. Okay. Again, I'm going to ask you to pick a spokesperson near the tail end who can share some of the ideas that you came up with. What else can I tell you? 3 challenges, 5 minutes alone, 10 minutes together. Please make sure everyone gets a chance to contribute. Okay, I know that it can be sometimes difficult to manage the room. So I'm going to bring up the next screen. Please find your name, your club name on this chart. You are grouped by club size, with some of the larger clubs being in the higher room numbers and the smaller clubs being in the lower room numbers. So if that helps you find your club, I leave you with that, okay? Okay, shake your head vigorously if you have not managed to find yourself yet. Okay, I'll give everybody a few more seconds. Monica, I think you want to say something, but you're on mute. Okay, you found your room. Okay, so please remember which room you're in. Maybe jot it down somewhere, because this is going to be the room that you're going to go back into, and I don't really want to have to bring this slide up again. Okay. Joyce, if I was wrong, it was because I did a copy and paste. I'm sorry.
I just never saw it spelled with a Y.
Oops. All right. I am going to stop sharing. If you did not get your breakout room, don't just randomly pick one. Stay behind and I'll find out which room you're in. I'm going to open the 6 breakout rooms and you will get to self-select. Okay, so pick which room you're meant to go into. Before we go, is anyone unclear on the ask? Okay.
Yeah, where am I picking from?
You're going to see it in a moment.
Oh, okay.
Did everyone get something come up on their screen asking them to go to a breakout room?
Nope.
How about now?
No.
No, no. Oh, yep,
Yep, no?
yep, yep. You have to go down to the bottom to where it says breakout rooms.
Well, you have to add that. Okay, now.
Right beside the record button, there should be something that says breakout
Okay.
rooms. And you click
Yeah.
on that, it'll give you the rooms.
I don't see how to pick the breakout room.
Okay, Lynn, which club are you in?
Look where it says
Wellington.
more.
I'm in Wellington.
Wellington?
Yeah,
Okay. I'll go put you into the right room. You're in room 5.
okay, thank you.
I'm clicking on 5 and it won't let me join.
Okay, who's that?
Dawn, wait a minute, came up. There.
Okay. Nisi, how are you doing over there?
I'm good. I'm just here. I'm not an incoming president, so
Oh,
I'm
good.
just here
Okay.
as, yeah.
I'm not sure who's part of the trainee team and who's not.
You're not just here, Nisi. Sandia, Nisi is the DGND.
DGND.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Beth.
So she's not just a just, she is the DGND.
Excellent. There you go. Well, that didn't actually work out too badly because there's a couple of rooms which are a little smaller, but none are too big. And that's my most important thing is that I don't want them
Actually,
to be-
that strategy worked out really well because last year when we tried to do this,
It-
they kept looking and looking and looking.
Mhm.
If somebody
Yeah.
didn't show up, it slowed the process. So that was much better.
Yeah, and it's a new feature in Zoom. So
You
yeah,
may have to teach, you may have to teach John that feature.
happy to.
Also, it's really great that you did it in club sizes.
Yeah,
Yes,
that, well, Sandy has always done this workshop in club size.
Mhm,
Because it
mhm.
makes for a more fulsome discussion when you're talking about, we're talking with presidents who are in clubs the same size as you, because they often have the same issues.
Right,
exactly.
right.
So-
And when you get a big club and a little club and a medium club,
Yeah.
sometimes it gets overlooked or overshadowed.
Mhm.
They don't experience the same stuff. So, hey, Mohammed. He's getting there. Hey, Mohammed.
What happened to John Burns?
Yeah. He just joined any room.
He joined the room.
Maybe he's just a butterfly. He's going to move around.
Yeah, in fact, I'm about to do the same. Mohammed, which club are you with? You're on mute.
Toronto Danforth.
Toronto Danforth. All right, so I'm going to put you into a breakout room. Just so you know what's happening, what the team is discussing in the breakout rooms is the top 3 challenges that they foresee for their club. Okay.
Toronto
And then-
Danforth is room 6.
Yep, perfect. I will assign you to room 6. And there you go. So your fellow presidents can help you with the rest of the exercise. Okay, Mohammed? So I've assigned you to room 6. Hopefully you get a pop-up that says join. Maybe?
Maybe not.
Mohammed, are you still with us or are you frozen?
Looks
I
like
think
he's
he's
frozen.
frozen.
He looks
Yeah.
rather frozen, doesn't he? All right, there he goes.
There goes.
I don't know whether he dropped or went to the room, but one way or another, he's not here. I will give you a heads up that you are still recording. And so if you start to talk about stuff, you should just know that
Yeah,
you're
it's
still recording.
still being recorded.
Yeah, so you may want to pause the recording. I'm going to go visit the rooms and make sure they're all okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'll see you in a bit.
We can't hear you, John.
You're on mute.
Muted.
You're muted, John.
You can always tell the rooms that are having a really vibrant discussion because they don't return as quickly. And then the other
Yep.
rooms that, you know, are like done. They're like,
Yep.
yep, we're
Yep.
back.
Yeah.
Beth, what time do I have until?
8 p.m.
Perfect. Room 2 is loving their conversation. All right. Think we've got most, if not everyone back, so we'll regroup. So hopefully everyone has selected a spokesperson and remembers the spokesperson, at least remembers which room they were from. That's always fun. So I'm going to go around, and my ask is that the spokesperson shares one idea, one challenge that was discussed at the table, and we'll go around until it sort of feels like we've exhausted the ideas. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to capture them. So if you're visual, you can see them. And if you've got a similar idea to someone else, you don't have to sort of say, yeah, you know, we agreed with that person and elaborate on it. You can just pass or obviously bring up another idea if you have one. Okay. So I'm going to share a Word document here and capture some challenges. So the spokesperson from room 1, could you please unmute yourself and share one of the challenges that your team identified?
Okay, we had 4 different challenges, so I'll have to work with one. So I guess the one I know most about is my own. Our community has a real rough time identifying our community. It sounds kind of strange, but we're in between 2 towns. And as a result, trying to get us, we have no downtown core, no center of our own. So that is a significant challenge, because which leads us to do things with other clubs as much in our neighborhood.
Got it.
Robert, what club are you with?
Quinny Sunrise.
Okay.
Got it. Great. Thanks, Robert.
Okay, I got others, but that's okay.
I know there are more. I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to contribute. So the spokesperson from room number 2, what was one of the challenges that you talked about?
So obviously we spoke about quite a number of things, but I think one that stood out to me was coming up with events that appeal to various age groups. So because a lot of clubs are trying to appeal to younger members these days, or younger people. So how do you plan events that would attract younger people as well as the older crowd? So that's something that stood out.
And when we talk about events, are we talking about like club events and fundraisers and projects, like the whole gamut?
I think the whole gamut, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Great. Room 3. Uh-oh.
That's me.
Oh, there you go. Good.
I had to unmute myself. For our group, we had several, but one of the things that half of our group found was the meetings are too expensive. They have them in maybe like a hotel, and they charge a minimum, even if only a few people attend, and the meals can be expensive.
Yeah. Good stuff. Room 4?
Room 4, that's myself. We came up with 3 different ones, but I think the most significant one was change. And we talked about it from a variety of angles. One was people accepting change. The other was people resisting change. The recycling of directors in the club, trying to get new members coming on board to be directors and take those leadership roles. Part of change is the planning. How do we do planning? Somebody else mentioned going beyond our comfort zone as far as change goes. The other part we talked about was communication in relation to change and underestimating ourselves.
So like all the change.
Yes, there was change in every direction, and pretty much everything that we came up with, even with volunteers, it all had to do with change.
Got it. I'm loving this. These are great challenges. I think you were room 5, room 4?
No, room 5's next.
Room 5 is next. Oh, Linda.
Hello, Cynthia.
I'm not surprised you're the spokesperson.
Oh, well, the first time I said I'll do it the first time. Divisiveness within the club, the old versus the new guard, rules versus looser rules, and the problems dealing with that. And I heard it a lot, Zoom versus in person, people having problems, and technology. We have lots of others, believe me, but they're the 2 that kept coming up.
Yeah, and years ago when I did this presentation, the things around technology and Zoom versus in person as challenges wouldn't have come up, and they are now very real challenges. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Room 6.
I guess I'll jump in. I'm one of the Peters. They said one of the Peters would take it. So I'm Peters Nukas. I'm from Coburg. And one of our biggest challenges that we all agreed upon within our group was attendance. And along with that, the engagement of the membership and the membership forming consensus. So we have a lot of members like just not showing up, and a lot of people still doing Zoom for the clubs that have Zoom, and a lot of troubles getting people just to agree on things. So post-COVID, it's really been a challenge for the larger clubs to get those people back, get them engaged, and get them to agree.
I love it. I love when the things that I'm hoping you'll say, you say. So let's hit up room number 1 again. I know that they had several challenges. What's one of your other challenges?
One of them came up from the Rotary Club of Brighton, and this is an interesting because it really reflects another aspect of what something that was created by Rotary. They were saying they have the same situation as in our club as a membership of 12. The Probus Club has over 200 members in Brighton. In other words, here is a kind of club out there that provides fellowship, provides interesting programs, but does not demand that you raise money for particular purposes. And so I think we're being challenged by, I know on a personal basis, people I know that I'd love to see this man as a member of Rotary, and he knows that too. And yet he's interested in Probus because in this time of his life right now, he doesn't want to be hit for fundraising.
Yeah,
And
fair enough. Yeah, it's definitely a thing, right? Hey, all of you have chosen to be here tonight. All of you have chosen to serve as president-elect, but as I say to people, you have lots of choices about how you spend your time, and being here is a choice, right? And so it's incumbent on me to make sure, as I facilitate this, that you're getting the most value out of our time together. All right, room 2. Any new ideas that you want to contribute?
Another thing that we spoke about was when you have like long-serving members, people typically stay on positions or portfolios for years. So maybe it's a board position or something like that. So when new members come in, they kind of find it difficult to find a place for themselves, and then find that there may be limited growth in the organization. So that could be a potential challenge for some clubs.
Got it. Excellent. All right, room 3.
Room 3, we find our club is aging generally, and that's not necessarily the problem. It's that it makes it difficult sometimes to attend meetings if there's weather, or maybe there's snowbirds, they go south in the summer or in the winter, or they go away in the summer. So it's because of their age, they're retired and have more opportunity to be away.
Yeah, it changes how things work.
Yeah.
All right, rapid fire, we're on room 4.
Room 4, we talked about volunteers and the size of the club. We have the advanced age and the youth that may not have the time for different reasons. Active members getting burnout, and making sure we plan around the size of our club, not planning something that's too big for the number of members that we have, and recognizing those key contributors.
Got it. Excellent. 5.
Lots of ideas in the club, but no focus. They need a visioning ceremony or whatever. And one club is worried about succession planning, and it needs they don't have president-elect or chairs that are stepping down, so concerned about succession planning.
All right, and last but not least, room 6 for the grand finale.
Well, we talked a lot about how to try and get members engaged. We also talked about Zoom. Some in our group have done away with Zoom meetings, and our club still has Zoom. So again, it's looking at different options on how to spur that engagement. And I mean, when it comes to consensus, if somebody here can figure out how to get consensus among 132 people, please share with me. But
Peter, remind me to talk to the group about what consensus is. It comes at the tail end, but remind me to, if I don't bring it up, remind me, please.
I will.
This
But
is
again, it's
fantastic.
to trying to get that vision, try to get everybody on the same page.
Oh, you guys, like, I should just stop here. Music to my ears. You said all the right things. And so I'm not going to leave you with a bunch of challenges and no way forward. I'm actually going to offer you a tool next that will help us to think about what we can do to address some of the challenges that we identified. Everyone ready to move forward? Okay, all right. So I'm going to take you back here. So I'm going to ask you to do another little exercise with me. We're not going to go out into our breakout rooms, but we are going to talk, I'm going to ask a few. So the exercise that I'm going to ask you to do here is answer a couple of questions, but the most important question is the last one, which is, why is there a difference between what you would say to the first question and what you would say to the second question? So I want you to think about why you originally joined Rotary, how many ever years ago. And then the next thing I want you to sort of think about is, well, why do I belong now? And then the in-between part, and this is what I'm going to ask you to share with me, is what changed, right? What happened to maybe make those two things different now? Okay. I'm going to give you a moment to think about this. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand if you want to share. Otherwise, I'm just going to pick on people. My ask when you share back is I don't need to hear the story. I don't need to hear number one and number two. I really want you to focus on what changed. Okay. All right. So take the time and then use your hand raising functionality to contribute. So Danielle, you are the first up. If you want to unmute yourself and share what is the difference between when you joined and why you belong to Rotary now? What happened?
I understood what it was and its power. When I
Fantastic.
initially joined, I just thought it was a club. And then when I understood its power and how many people there are worldwide and like its power to move things and make change, I stayed.
Yeah.
Good.
Fantastic. All right. Who else? Tina.
And mute. COVID. It's made it hard to get people to get out of their house, and that connection is gone.
So is that what
Personal connection.
Okay, so that's actually changed for you, not necessarily what changed and like why you remain a Rotarian, but can I extrapolate that the connection is really important for you in Rotary?
Yeah, like having coffee. We used to get together and do that and, just get together and hang out. And COVID changed that. We don't have that. The difference is there's not that, you don't feel that connection anymore, that camaraderie, I guess.
Yeah, what a great point. Monica and then George. So Monica, feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned about not getting together anymore. This year, we started having 1 month, every month, we have breakfast together in a restaurant, okay? We have it for breakfast because we're a breakfast meeting. So the beauty of it is we don't have the meeting there. We just have a wonderful time together once a month. And every month it has 5 Wednesdays in it because we join on Wednesdays. On the 5th Wednesday of that month, we have pub night because we acknowledge that we're still sort of in COVID. We're not sure if we're getting out of it or not, but we've decided that to hell with it, we want to get together. So on those 2 occasions, and they're only literally once a month or once every couple of months, we get together and just have.
Perfect. Thanks, Monica. That's
Oh,
helpful.
sorry, I didn't get to tell you the most important thing, though. Why,
Okay.
why is there difference between when I started and when I am now? And the most important thing, originally I did it because I thought I had needed something to do other than work. So I felt it was like giving me a purpose. But what I found out also was that it taught me leadership. I had never taken a position of leadership before because when I was growing up, girls weren't supposed to talk a lot. Obviously, that was a problem of mine. But having said that, I became the president. Yeah, well, okay. But after 3 years of being a member, one day I just woke up and said, okay, I want to be president. And they all laughed and they said, but you've only been in for 3 years. And I said, well, you've had other guys doing it. Why not a woman? So they basically said, okay. And suddenly I was president for 3 years.
Monica, I love your story. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to move on to George and then Corey, and then I'm going to move us on. I might get to you, Deborah. What happened to George?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, George. What changed for you?
So I'll be very brief and very honest. My joining Rotary was really out of curiosity. I come from East Africa, a place called Uganda. And in Uganda, I grew up, there's Rotary in that part of the world, but I grew up knowing Rotary as that club of rich old people. And I thought it had nothing to do with me. And then I come to Canada, and one of my relatives who was a president of Rotary in Uganda traveled here to visit me, and he takes me to this club in Ajax. And boy, when I went there, I saw something different from what I thought Rotary was. And then, of course, I got to know the programs, the work that Rotary is doing, and that is why I'm still a Rotarian and moving into a position of leadership.
Excellent. Hey, George, do they speak Swahili in Uganda?
Absolutely. Yep.
Jumbo.
Do you? Jumbo.
That's about the extent of it. I have a shirt with various phrases on it, but Jumbo is on there and Habari Ghana is about as far as I get. So
Excellent.
all right, Corey, take us home.
So it's actually Bill.
Oh, hi,
And-
Bill.
The question being, why did you join Rotary? I joined Rotary to make a difference. Why do I belong to Rotary now? After 42 years, I still am.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Deborah, did you still want to add something?
Basically, I think because our club needed someone to fill a role, and I'd been in the club for 23 years and we were in a rock and a hard place, so I stepped up.
Opportunity. I'll put a positive spin on it. Fantastic, folks. I want you to take a look at this list, right? And just think about if these are the things that are valuable to you, right? Can you just put yourself in your member's shoes and think, well, if these are the things I value as a Rotarian, these are the things that other people value as a Rotarian as well. Question is how do we make sure that we provide this experience? Okay. I'm going to talk to you briefly about a model that we use when we think about club vitality. And some of you may have seen this. It looks very much like how a product life cycle goes. It was adapted in our district actually by a fellow called Jack Tacoma, but the original author of it was George Bullard. And what George was looking at was social entities as a whole. And he was thinking about, why clubs like service clubs, churches, various other organizations succeed. And what he identified is there are 4 elements that keep a club vital and vibrant, or rather they're the building blocks of a club. And so I'm going to tell you a little story, but I'll just walk through what some of these elements are. And I'll tell you a story to illustrate how they work together. Okay. So vision, relationships, projects, and management are all really critical elements of a club's health and vitality. So I'm going to tell you a little story to illustrate how these things work together. And it's It's about a car ride. Okay. So imagine 4 people. One's name is Vision. The other one's name is Relationships. The other one's name is Project. And guess what? The last guy is called, or gal, is called Management. And they all decide to go on a car ride together. And you know what? Vision, being clear about where they're going, says, all right, you know what? I'll drive. Okay. Fantastic. Vision says, yep, everyone agrees. Vision, you're driving, you know where you're going, you got a great sense of direction. We know we're going to get there with you. Relationship and Management, you know, they're sort of, or sorry, Relationship and Projects, they're sitting in the back seat. Management, you know, it's in the car too. The journey continues, and you know, relationships build between the people in the car. They start to chat about some stuff, and you know, they're getting on. They're really getting on very well. Vision, Relationships, Projects, and Management, the house is on fire. They're loving their car ride. Well, they're a couple hours in, or a couple of years in, when we talk about a club, maybe, or months, hopefully not months, but they're into their journey. And you know what? Vision's getting a little tired. It's you know, the road's long. It's a fairly flat drive. So he goes, folks, I need to pull over. And if you don't mind, I'm going to grab a coffee, and I'm going to actually sit in the back seat if that's okay. And so they're like, yeah, we should be fine. We should be fine. Vision, grab your coffee, hop into the back seat. We'll be all good. So Vision does exactly that. He hops into the back seat. Management says, yeah, you know what, I'll stay in the front. Maybe someone else wants to drive though. And turns out that, you know, that coffee wasn't strong enough, and Vision ends up falling asleep in the back seat. Well, don't you know it? Relationships and Projects start having an argument. They can't agree on the music. They are really frustrated one another. You know, they're just not happy campers on this car drive. Management has decided that he's going to take over driving. And he's like, I can do this. We'll get there. It'll be fairly consistent. And he goes, I think I know where we're going. Not entirely sure, but at least I can drive the car properly, and, you know, and whatnot. So this car ride ends up being pretty darn boring. And I'm not sure that they actually ever reached their destination, because what they were left with was Relationships and Projects hating one another. Vision is still asleep in the back, and Management's driving along this really dull road. Okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions. Based on what you know now, when a club starts to deteriorate, what do you think the first thing is that disappears? And you're more than welcome to pop it into the chat. What's the first thing that you think disappears in a club that is going downhill and isn't as healthy as it might have been? Don't everyone say it once. Vision. We think Vision disappears. Anybody have a different opinion? Relationships? Membership? Yeah. Anybody else want to contribute before I bring us back? Oh, Danielle, you are my new best friend. I will pay you later. Danielle couldn't be more right. And so when a club starts to deteriorate, it's often because they've lost sight of their vision. And they experience it, though, because other things start to change in their club. For example, relationships start to deteriorate, or membership starts to decline. You start to see some of those challenges. Remember the challenges that I had you identify at the onset? You start to see a lot of those challenges originate. Okay. So we are going to go back into our breakout rooms. Hopefully everyone remembers. In fact, I think if I hit breakout rooms, it will just put you into the right room. Here's my ask. On a sheet of paper, I need you to jot down where you, as the future leader of your club, believes your club is at. Okay. You might be on the up, you might be at the top, or you might be on the slope. Be honest with yourself. What I need you to discuss is what went through your brain as you made that decision. So what were the signals that told you where you were? You don't need to share, you know, where your location is. What I want you to talk about is what the signals were. What did we see happen in our club, or what are we seeing happening in our club that leads us to believe that we are in one of these spots? Okay, those could be positive things, those could be negative things. All right. I'm going to actually give you 5 minutes to do this, so please make sure you're focused on the exercise and giving people a chance to speak. And again, please select a spokesperson to share one of your most important ideas back. I believe you should just be asked to join the room that you were previously a part of. So I'm just going to open the rooms and see what happens. Okay. Steve, how you doing over there? Good. Okay. All right. Lynn, you all right? I think she's all right. There we go.
That was too easy.
I was just gonna say, oh my gosh, that worked out beautifully.
You can stop recording now, John.
Oh, yeah.
I love when they don't come back.
Here they come.
There we go.
It's amazing how all of a sudden your screen gets populated.
I know, right? It's fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to go around the rooms once as opposed to multiple times. So room 1, when you talked about what you were seeing in your club, depending on, you know, where you were, what was one of those things? Who's the spokesperson for room 1?
I'm the spokesperson for room 1. So most of the clubs are either on the top or on the upward trend on that curve.
Okay.
Yeah, and what we were discussing was how to get new people, how to attract new people.
Okay.
And what kind of meetings we have, Zoom or hybrid.
For a club that's at the top, what was one of the things that was working well?
I think they have their projects working. It was a passport club, and they meet about 5 times a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though they don't meet physically, they do keep in touch with email and stuff.
Perfect. Thanks. Room 2.
Well, you got me again. Okay, our group was kind of interesting because we had 2 sides. We had one group that is definitely on the up because COVID actually brought more people together and they were enthusiastic, and it just works. But then we had the exact opposite, where some clubs lost members from death and aging, I guess, and also a lack of interest or not being able to participate the way they did in person. And they felt a misstep somewhere where they're not connecting with each other.
All right. So what I'm hearing is membership levels and membership engagement signal where you might be on that curve.
Yeah, I think so. I think yeah.
Makes sense. Room 3.
We weren't supposed to say membership though, were we?
No, membership can come up here. Like what happens with membership?
Okay.
Come up here. Room 3. What did you guys see?
Sandy, I think all of us found ourselves on the downslope of that particular curve that you were showing us. And I think the biggest challenge was as we started to go around the room, we started to talk about the age of our members and being relevant to new younger members. And how do you become relevant to those new younger members? What are they looking for that we maybe aren't offering?
Relevancy. Got it. Okay. 4, my own 4.
I was a spokesperson. What we found, our group, we've got a lot of veterans, and they've seen their clubs go through upswings and downswings, and like the downswing, there's the opportunity. Now you're going to go up, and you have to stay positive and realize that the sky isn't falling. You focus on your vision, realizing that life goes on. And one member mentioned, over the last 15 years, over the last period of time, there's been over 15 vision statements. And basically that it's the same thing. And you just need to believe, a few members, on the upswing, they're seeing that they're on the upswing with new members, the keenness in the club. Other clubs are addressing members not participating. So they're calling them, trying to get them engaged. And the big thing was to stay positive.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Steve. So what I'm gathering from that is when you start to see shifts in participation, that tells you something both positive or negative. When you start to see shifts in engagement, that's sort of a signal for where you might be, right?
Mhm.
All right. You were 4.
Group
Man,
5. Group 5.
Okay.
Hi. So we found that our group was kind of just past the top of the hump or right at the bottom of the slide. And common themes that came up was just talking about focus. So sometimes people have, very successful, one club had a very successful fundraising drive, I guess, to raise $400,000 for the hospital, but now they're left with, okay, but now what? What do we do? But on the other side, there's some that is, described it as we've lost all vision, we were downhill, people have lost interest. A lot of people talking about, their club feeling like management, it's all about rules, that the vision has been lost. And then someone mentioned, well, part of it is COVID. We're all rebuilding from COVID and just trying to figure it all out again. And so again, it came back to vision. And maybe that's a reset that we all kind of need to just realign, refocus, talk it out again.
I love all of that. So I'm hearing things like connections within the club tell you where you might be, or tell you that things are on the up or things are not. COVID has been a huge impact. There's no question about it. And so I would almost suggest that, if you think you have a vision and it's 5 years old, maybe a lot has changed, right? We all go through changes in our own life, and sometimes we need to hit the reset button. I speak from personal experience. My life today is nowhere near the life I had when I accepted becoming district governor. And so I had to hit the reset button on my plans and my approach and what I was going to do as an individual. All right, rounding it out with room 6, and then I'm going to move us forward.
Yeah, that'd be me. That'd be Peter.
Hi, Peter.
Hi. Yeah, we had a couple of interesting differences between the groups. We had one group that had just popped over the downside of the curve probably about a year ago, but had managed to bring themselves through vision and back onto the top of the curve, which was an interesting shift. One of the groups was very focused on relationships and actually having board meetings and in board members' homes and things like that, and integrating more with the family to bring relationship back into the equation. 2 of the clubs that are in our group both felt that they'd lost not that there wasn't a vision, but there was a need for revisioning. And as a consequence of COVID, also relationships as well. So one of the clubs that had some change in people, so that lost kind of the visionary sort of impact there. Certainly in our club, we're going through we've actually just done a membership survey actually to gather member inputs so that we can start to compile a sense of a vision that's membership driven. So
fantastic. Music to my ears. This is fantastic. Just by a nod of head, shake of heads, are any of your clubs exactly the same? No way, Jose. So I'm gonna say this, right? do you need to do what's right for your club? Okay. No one person solution. What works for Jeremy's club in Trenton isn't necessarily going to work in Port Hope. Okay. So it's that membership experience and gathering that feedback is such an important part of what you do. And we're going to talk about some tools that Rotary offers to help you do that. All right. I'm going to move us forward. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. So I love what I heard. I'm going to tell you a little bit about, where you might be on this curve and some things to think about. If you identified here and you said, you know what, we've got great relationships, great projects, things are still trucking along, we've got a great board, succession planning is strong, but we're just not quite sure where we're heading. We've lost sight of the bigger picture. You know what? It's really easy to recover. Your district, our district, offers several resources to do in-person visioning sessions. You might even have someone in your club who can help with that. And if you don't want to do that, there's tools on Rotary International site to help you figure out, where are we heading? When things start to come apart a little between club members and you've lost sight of where you're going, so this might look like people going, I'm going to skip out on the meeting. I don't really think it's very valuable for me to be there. I'm not quite sure what the heck I'd be doing there anyhow. I'm going to go and play hockey or spend time with my family. I won't lie, it's a little harder to find your spot again. Okay. And then last but not least, if projects start to sort of disappear off the horizon, or things get a little staid and steady, and all you've got is a really great board who's talking about whether you have chicken or fish at lunch, I'm not going to lie, it's really hard to recover from that spot. Okay. And it might be better to reinvest in starting again, because it really does take a fair bit of energy to climb the hill right from the bottom. Right. So now that I've all made you feel like really unhappy, a little exercise, please and thank you. In the chat box with your quickest fingers possible, tell me what a club with vision looks like. What does that club look like? What do you see? When a club has vision, you see.
And nobody knows where to go.
When it has vision, no one knows where it goes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hope, happy, engaging, excited, engagement. Something to look forward to. What else? Renewed passion, visible in the community. All right. I know there are more ideas out there, but here's what a club with vision looks like. It's passionate. They've got a sense of direction. They've got goals. They've got great leadership. They've got core values. They've got that sense of why we are here. There's motivation. Remember when I asked you to write down why you stay in Rotary? You see a connection between clubs with vision and what makes members stick around?
Mhm.
Any nodding heads there? Yeah. All right, in the chat, I want you to flip to what does a club without vision look like?
Mine.
Thanks, Brian. It's flat, it's dead. Brian, describe it for me in the chat. It's demoralized. It's lost. There's no commitment amongst people. Anything else? Lacks purpose. You couldn't be more right. You know, some of those things that you told me about that happened, those challenges that you had, you see any of them on the screen now? Members perishing, no direction. You know, we've gotten into a bit of a comfort zone. Comfort zone is good, right? Everyone wants to be in their comfort zone, no? Come on, people. Don't make me think all of your screens are frozen. Shake heads or nod heads. Yeah. So I'll offer that when you're in a comfort zone and things are smooth and predictable, you really need to look at yourself and think about, we might be in a groove, but are we in a rut? Right? Or are we in a steady state here that's actually working for us? Right? If things really don't go well, you might end up in a bit of a death spiral, which is no fun to be in. And so I would encourage you, again, you're going to do an exercise next with that worksheet, to be very, very honest about where you are, because things can really change very, very quickly. And you might think to yourself, oh, you know what, we're sort of starting to see members not come to things. You know, we're not having great discussions at the board meetings, or our speakers are sort of, wishy-washy, but you know, it'll get better. I encourage you, when you start to see the signals, do something about it. Okay. We've talked about this a little already, so I'm going to skip through this and all my fun animation. Okay. Take your worksheets, please. All right. The ask here is an individual ask. I want you to fill out the worksheet. So how that worksheet works, I'm going to bring it up, is you'll notice that there are questions, okay? And then there's like a subtitle for it. Just rate where there is a number, okay? On a scale of 1 to 5, where are we with respect to, if you were asked, our club has a vision that is current and we have written long-term goals, what would you say? And so on and so forth, okay? Again, please be honest with yourself. Lynn, did you have a question about the question?
I didn't get the worksheet, and I know several other people didn't as well.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can share it in the chat. Give me just 1 second.
Thank you.
Might just take me a minute.
It did go out to all the president-elects who are registered on Club Run. If you're not registered on Club Runner as a president-elect, you're going to miss a lot of communications because it definitely went out. It went out last Friday.
I am registered as president-elect and have been for months.
All right, well, it's in the chat for now. If you can download it from there and just fill it out virtually, that's great, Lynn. All right, so again, you want to be answering each question. We're not going to sum up the score or anything. We're going to use your individual scores to each of those questions in combination with the other worksheet, which I'm suspecting that certain people didn't get, so I'm going to add that in too. Okay. All right. Do folks need more time to do the worksheet? Okay, so using your worksheet, you'll also have the back page of a brochure that is called, that is available online, but the back page is the most critical part of it, which is the Vibrant Club brochure. So hopefully you have that printout and your filled out survey, and I'm going to show you how it works. I told you that I was going to give you some help and support and you're going to make some plans. This is that part where we're going to help you figure out how to solve some of the challenges that your club faces. Okay. So here's how it connects. And of course I closed it down. All right. Bear with me, folks. I'm going to be going back and forth a bit. All right. So question number 1, Our club has a vision that is current and we have written long-term goals. If you said, you know what, I'm not sure, then taking that other worksheet that you were provided, it correlates to this box, which says, all right, fine. If that's a problem, then decide what you'd like your club to look like in 3 to 5 years. And here are some resources that are available for free for you to be able to do this. There's the Rotary Club Health Check, which allows you to identify your club's strengths and areas that need improvement. And you can also use the Strategic Planning Guide to set long-term goals. Okay. If you said, we set annual goals that support our long-range goals, and you said, you know what? I really don't think we do that at all. Fine. That's okay, because what you can do is you can decide on your annual goals and enter them into Rotary Club Central, focusing on something that your club is good at, making sure it's something, and make sure something your club is great at. And you can also consider updating committees once a month on your goal progress. Okay. So the way this chart works is each question is correlated to a box and it goes across and then diagonally. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. Right. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is, knowing what you know and having assessed your club and having been offered some opportunities to make things better, I need you to put pen to paper, and I actually need you to do this. I don't want you to just say, I'm just going to think about it. Okay. I need you to put pen to paper. What are the 3 things that you will implement in your club during your year as president to make an improvement on some of the challenges that your club experiences? What are the 3 things that you will do that will make your club more vibrant? For anybody who's thinking, you know what, I don't need to write it down, I'll remember, write it down. You won't remember. This is your personal commitment to your club and to yourself. All right, I know several of you are still writing. I can tell you have no idea how much joy it brings me to see pensive faces and frantic hands writing down what you're going to do to make a difference in your year. I do want to finish on time and honor the end time. 12 questions, but the back page only has 10 boxes. Brian, seriously? Does it not match exactly? Hold, please. Let me, I know there's a reason. So let me get back to you as to where the sync up is. I think what it might be is that a couple of the boxes are synced up to multiple questions on the other side. Okay.
1 and 3 is mixed up.
1 and 3, okay. All right, but just know that all of those things, you know, are opportunities for you, and hopefully the assessment tells you where to focus your energy. And if you want to sit down with me and say, okay, you know, how do I help work on a specific area, I'm happy to do that with you. I do want to just bring up one other thing, because I promised that I would talk about it. I am going to talk about consensus, but I want to just provide a summary. Sorry, let me make sure I'm sharing my screen with you. I want to give you a summary of some of the things that you might consider, right? So if I can get the right slide up. So really important to develop that vision and set your long-range goals, setting annual goals that then support that. You know, keeping your members informed and involved, communicating effectively, ensuring continuity in your leadership, customizing your bylaws. So don't let your bylaws stand in your way. Take those risks, obviously calculated risks, right? Don't bet your entire bank account on something, but you're not going to find out if something new won't work unless you try it. Will or won't work. I hope it does work. Okay. Regular fellowship opportunities. So many of you said that connection is so important. Getting members involved, offering regular and consistent training so people can find out what Rotary is all about, and making sure that your structure reflects the direction you have. Someone said to me that you know we often create committees galore, but they're not always aligned to where we want to go, and that is so important. You're not going to be able to do everything. So again, I do encourage you to use the survey as your guide for where you can focus and tackle the top 3 challenges. I also encourage you to share this with your board so that they can be a part of helping you achieve better things for your club and maybe even your members. In fact, not maybe even, definitely your members. I once had a president come to me and said, Sonia, I have this amazing vision and I came up with this beautiful plan, and he did. It was in the beautiful, beautiful binder. And I said, what do your members think about it? And he goes, well, I didn't share it with them. I said, well, then how's it been going? He goes, I can't seem to get anywhere with it. But he had done all this thinking, but he hadn't shared it with the people who were going to help him drive it. I promised you that I'd talk about consensus. Can someone just give me their definition of consensus? I think it was Peter who you brought this up. Peter, what does consensus mean to you?
Well, getting everybody to agree on a course of action, or to agree that, well, they all share a certain direction. Everybody doesn't all have to agree, but they have to agree that it's the right direction to go into.
There you go. Yeah. Any other definitions of consensus among the group?
I think that consensus is, it's Linda speaking. You're right, Peter. Not everybody is going to agree, but when you leave the room, everybody's going to go in the same direction and you're going to support one another while you go through it. And that's consensus, working together and walking together.
Jackpot. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it, Peter and Linda. So, you know, our current president, Jennifer Jones, has this great saying, and it's stuck with me. Don't water the weeds. We spend a lot of time in our Rotary clubs trying to convince the people who might not be on board to get on board. And sometimes what we need to do is we need to water the flowers, see them grow, and move forward. Right? And so long as you can agree that we're working in the same direction and that no one's going to derail you, right, you've got consensus to move forward. With that, I bring this to a close. I offer you my contact information. I love hearing from clubs and their journey and their successes. I'm there to help. Be patient with me. I get a lot of emails, but I will get to yours in good time. So please reach out if you need my support. Nothing would bring me greater joy than to see you succeed and make your club more vibrant in the year that you serve your club as president. So thank you. Thank you for your time tonight.
Can I
Thank you.
Give the floor back
Bravo.
to
Bravo.
Can I make a comment quickly? If for those I spoke in my group, but I didn't speak to the whole group, if you don't know what C gaming is in the province of Ontario, my email is rcny.monica@gmail.com. We're currently up to for beginning in August, we've currently earned up to, 31,000, over $31,000 given to us by the government of Ontario, in our case, to be used in the city of Toronto. But it is such a phenomenal opportunity to make money. And all you need are two volunteers at a time for 2 hours of their poor little lives. And it's all any day, any week, any day of the week. And somebody can fill in that space and you can make so much money.
Thank
So-
you for that, Monica. I'm going to turn it to John Burns to thank Sandia, our presenter tonight.
Sandia, it was fabulous. It was informative, thought-provoking. You could tell the participant engagement. They didn't want to come back out of the breakout rooms, as you said. Now they'll go forward, better prepared for the challenges they have ahead. Sanya, as a thank you, we will make a donation of $200 to Rotary Foundation in your name. And it's been a pleasure as always. And I hope you'll come back again next year and do the same.
Happily.
Thank you,
Happily.
Sandia. It's great to see you, and thank you for your presentation tonight. I know was well received by everyone who was present, as it has been in the past. And thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
It's great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for being you,
Thank you,
and
guys.
all the best.
Thank you,
And
Sandia.
I'm glad, so
Thank
glad
you.
you're enjoying your district
Thank you.
governor year.
That I am. Moments like this make it all worth it. I'll see
There you
everyone
go.
soon. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody, for
Thank
joining
you.
us tonight.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I just ask how many more pet Zooms are there in this session?
One more.
Just
Deborah.
one more?
Yep, in 2 weeks' time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I just didn't know. I wanted to book my dates, but thank you very much. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Deborah. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. I love you all.
All right.
I'm
Good to
calling
see
it a night. Thank you, John. Thank you for being tech support. Sierra, it was good seeing you.
Good
And
to see you. Take
Beth,
care.
I've been
Thanks.
meaning to catch up, and I will. I'm sorry to hear about Barry, and yeah.
Thank you.